So, to recap, it sounds like everybody could use a little bit more time to finish up project two. So, I'm not gonna do a big like critique review thing for project two today. Just we'll do it next Tuesday just to give everyone a little bit more time because it. I don't think it really makes that much sense for me to like give you a bunch of feedback on stuff that you're still working on. So, but I do want to introduce Project 3, which will be our final storyboard. After that, the last two projects of the semester are going to be taking storyboards that you've already made and refining them, turning them into animatics. So, this is a great opportunity if you haven't done any storyboards that you like yet to come up with something that you like a little bit more and you want to turn into an animatic for your animation reel. Now, as I was also wanting to show you guys, so Thursday we're not having our online session because I am going to be out on medical leave tomorrow and Thursday, so I won't be around for office hours or anything like that. But of course, if it's something urgent, you can always catch me on the class Discord. Like I'm not gonna ghost you guys. But, huh? No, I'm not really gonna be looking at email at all. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna take the next couple days a little bit low key. But I will be back in full effect on Friday. So if you guys like need to meet with me or have me look over stuff or go over stuff, just set up a time when we can get together on Friday or Monday or pretty much any other time. It's just these next couple of days are going to be a little weird. So to make up for the fact that we don't have virtual class, I already have a couple pre-recorded videos for you guys to watch, and I'll be posting the videos from today's class for you guys. This first one is a nice short little one, just about understanding size, resolution, and aspect ratio. And then this other one is a deep dive into shot types and camera movement, where basically we go through your shot reference guide, which you can access right here. And I talk a lot about how and why we use different kinds of shots and different kinds of camera moves. I think that's just something that we've been needing to talk about for a little while. So we go through this a little bit more in depth and give you some good knowledge on that as well. Does anyone have any questions right now? Okay, cool. Then I am gonna keep rolling right along. So let's talk about Project 3. So Project 3 is one of my longtime, all-time favorites. Can those at home see this assignment sheet okay? Cool. So, and this assignment sheet is also available on Blackboard if you just want to pull it up and follow along. But basically, you have the next close to 20 days to work on this. So just like all the other projects, you've got 3 weeks, roughly, give or take. So the cool thing about this project is you actually get to write an original story finally. You know, in the first project, you were working with something pre-recorded as a source of inspiration. The second project, you're really deep diving into just learning rendering techniques. Now in this third project, you get down into writing as well as storyboarding, because oftentimes in the industry, the story artists actually are the writers for shows. From everyone I've talked to in the industry, they say that there are two kinds of shows. The scripted show, where you actually have writers who like write out a screenplay, and then the story artists board the visuals. And then you have a board-driven show, which, and that's a lot of the stuff like Steven Universe and Adventure Time and stuff like that. Basically, the showrunner, whoever created the show, probably came from the animation side. And so in a board-driven show, it really is the storyboard artists who do the majority of the writing. So after the break today, I'll also be doing a short talk on how to write for animation. That way you're in a really good position to be able to execute your own stories. But yeah, for this project, you're going to come up with a story about someone pursuing or being pursued by someone or something. And this can actually take a lot of different forms. I mean, it could be an action story like a chase sequence, or it could be something more subtle like a love story. Because, I mean, love is certainly a type of pursuit, or someone pursuing a good grade in a really hard class. That's a type of pursuit. So the field is really pretty wide open. But I like the pursuit because, we've been talking a lot about this compositional depth, using foreground, middle ground, and background to help tell stories. And I'm sure you guys can imagine how in a story about a pursuit, having that compositional depth can be really helpful. But yeah, this is going to be really short, 15 panels minimum as usual. So, but it does need to be obvious or clear to the audience why the character is pursuing or being pursued. But the content of the story is completely up to you. So, all the same stuff as usual for our technical details. It's going to be 16:9 aspect ratio, at least 15 panels, which in this case, when you're writing, comes out to about 15 sentences, about 15 moments. More on that in a bit. Dialogue is optional. Dialogue takes time, but if you like writing dialogue, that may be a good way to go. You do want to include a written log line for your story. And like last time, at least 10 panels should have objects and or characters in the foreground, middle ground, and background. Final storyboards should use shading to show that foreground, middle ground, background through shades of gray. As usual, no color. I'm not grading on use of color. So then what's due when? Well, our very first checkpoint this Sunday is going to be pretty easy. It's just going to be your log line and written out story beats, which I'll be showing you a little bit more about here in a second. But it's basically just a written outline of what happens at the key moments in your story. Then the following Sunday, it'll be storyboard sketches. So I think at this point, you guys are pretty fast at doing concept sketch. So I really just want to see rough storyboards by next Sunday. And then for the final, you'll just take those rough sketches and whatever feedback I've given you for revisions, you'll shade them and turn those in. As I wanted to include a little bit about how to write story beats, because I realize that not everyone has done a bunch of writing. If you have, that's awesome. You're ahead of the game. But, if you haven't, or even if you have, you might not have written in this format before. I know a lot of people do creative writing classes, and when you're writing a narrative like for a book, it's a little bit different of a process than if you're writing for something visual like animation. So I give you some tips here to think about, just kind of a quick hit list. The one thing that I'll let you guys read this on your own. I'm not going to read it to you because we're going to cover a little bit more of this in today's lesson too. But one thing I did want to call out was one story beat, one sentence is approximately one panel. So you don't need more than 15. And I always do recommend, get your story written When you're done, save it, take a break, and then come back to it and revise it before you turn it in. But it's only going to be the written stuff that's due. If you end up like getting really motivated and doing some concept sketches, I will review them if you turn those in as well. But it's not a mandatory thing. I figure with Project 2 having been so big, maybe you guys needed a little bit of a breather from the constant drawing. So that's why it's just coming up with your idea and writing it down. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Cool. Then at this point, I'm going to say, let's go ahead and take a short break. We'll resume at 5:30, and that's when I will get into this lovely PowerPoint that I made about writing for animation. And we can talk a little bit about how to think about it, and I'll also kind of show you how to write these story beats. So I'm going to stop the video here, and then I'll see you guys back here at 5:30.